If you do not wish to be recorded, please let us know at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I will call this meeting to order tonight at 6 o'clock. If you'd all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So tonight we'll begin with board recognition. And we have a lot to celebrate this evening, like putting our glasses on. Sorry. I'd like to begin by inviting the Yes Committee up to the front, please. So we have Jenny McKinney, Lucinda Creasy, Becca Pettit, Catherine Lambert, and Eddie Jessup. Is that how you say his name?
He couldn't be here tonight, yeah.
So thank you. Thank you so much, along with our principal team, Cliff Freeze, Matt Carlson, Tia Michelle Marquez, Dave Slagle, Kevin Collins, Earl McBride, Nikki Mesa, Nita Hill, Christy Ellenwood, and Aaron Hickey. So the board would like to recognize and thank you from our hearts for your advocacy and support of boarding students throughout the Yes campaign. The fight is definitely not over, as our needs absolutely still exist. You're still up against the same challenges we were before the bond, but we don't want to move forward without expressing our appreciation to you for the tireless work and hours and after school activities that you all did to encourage voters to vote in favor of our students. So thank you for everything you have done for us. And we have some gifts. We've got some mugs here for our Yes Committee and some plants that we're excited to say are from the FFA team.
Awesome.
No, please.
Okay, I have to do this because she helps me out every day. I appreciate the rest of you.
Kathleen Lambert isn't here.
So we're going to get a big picture with all of us. That's cool. Oh yeah, Grace, you're going to look fantastic.
Hey, I didn't know this happened today. I didn't. I put something not looking at their bed, but I did do it. That's just how it happens. Just in Washington, we finally get sun. And then you just burn. Yeah, that's it. I did put that shit on. It's okay, I burn and then a tan, so.
And Aaron's here, so one for Nikki.
That's cute. I like it. Yeah, you'll get used to it again, and then you'll get a whole bunch, and you're just.
Roll with everybody.
Yeah, I want my tool, and then I want to do like here. Some lady in my drive-thru, she did like right there, and I want to do that.
So here, that's great. Everybody kind of turns sideways.
Against the new backdrop.
Let's be careful not to scratch your shoulders.
Where's Nina?
Okay, you ready? One, two.
She said one instead. Try it.
want to acknowledge family members who were supportive and watched kids during all those long hours and sign waiving and all that kind of stuff. So, thank you. All right. In recognition of Certified Staff Appreciation Week that occurred the week of May 8th, our OEA president, co-president Brittany Smith, come up, and I understand Denise is not here tonight, but we want to recognize Denise Thompson as well. And we would like to thank all of our certificated staff for all that you do, to the teachers, the specialists, the counselors, the TOSAs, our nurses, psychologists, speech and language therapy specialists, and our occupational therapists who support work both in and outside the classrooms with a focus on our kids. We could not do this work without your help. So thank you so much, and we have a beautiful bouquet of flowers for you.
Thank you.
And then we'll deliver Denise's to her tomorrow.
Aw, thank you
So
so much.
thank you so much. And are we doing pictures for this one as well? Yes,
President's call.
I'm excited.
I think it's a picture.
All right.
That's
I mean, I heard there was a new background.
Yeah. You didn't know about the.
I was hoping to take this picture with my friend.
Yes, yes.
All right, bring it in.
Michaela,
Bring it.
you guys in, Grace, you're good? Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Go team.
Thanks, Brittany.
Yes.
I'm one of many.
Like a greenhouse in here? All right, so board, I would like to open the floor for any other recognition.
I'll start with recognizing that for the first time in 30 years, the Orting FFA participated in the Northwest Junior Livestock Show at the Washington State Fair. It's kind of hard to believe that it was the first time in 30 years, so that's kind of a real shout out to the program there. They made a combined total of approximately 7,960 from their animals, so that's pretty cool. They also won first place in FARM for Kids Career Development event at the 93rd Washington FFA State Convention. And when I read that, I was like, oh, first place for the Kids Career Development, and I immediately went to the pig noses. So I just, whatever it is that they're doing a fantastic job at it, so.
And PTR won the I Voted contest, and they got to vote. I know in Mrs. Basket and Mrs. Belkamp's class to decide who threw the pie. Pies, because there were two people picked, so I know that. And one thing that is on here is that I happen to know that WASNet is at State in Moses Lake this weekend. And I know it's their first time ever being as a group, and they're on to State, and they are participating, the whole team is participating in Canadian flags, which I do know what that is now. It's a relay race on horses with flags,
Wow.
so.
Huh.
Well, I'd like to just shout out to the Orting High School Jazz Band for taking first place at the Bellevue Jazz Festival. That's so cool. That's, I mean, I love that.
We had so many wins this month. It's hard to capture them all, by the time we get everything uploaded to here. And just in this short 2-week period of time, we've had so many fantastic things. Girls track are league champions. Drama has the play. I don't want to steal your guys' thunder. You talk about drama.
It's okay.
Also, girls baseball is
Yes.
going to districts. I think they've only lost one game.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's really cool.
I'm gonna stop and let you guys talk, because I've even got more. Just a broad overarching statement. I'm so impressed with our students in all buildings are just accomplishing some really cool things as we head into the end of the school year. I'm super proud. A lot of first place, a lot of champs, a lot of just good service work as well. So I just want to recognize them. But I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, so I'm just gonna. Awesome. Anything else?
Well, I just have to say, when I went to the girls' baseball game, I'm sitting there, and two of the players hit the ball over the fence.
Yeah.
I'm like, and one was the third baseman, and she's not real big, and she just right over the fence.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fast pitch is a mean sport. They're pretty good.
They are great. Mark and I have been to a couple of games, and all the games that's been over the 5th inning because our girls have scored so highly.
Yeah.
So they're forced to contend with. All right, wonderful. I'll open the floor for community and staff comments, which I don't believe any were submitted tonight. Okay, very good. Then Superintendent Paxton Wheeler, I will turn it over to you.
And before I do my report, it's a wonderful opportunity for our leaders or YES committee who would like to depart on this stuffy hot evening to do so. You're more than welcome to stay, of course, but we know we really appreciate you coming to be recognized, but we know your time's valuable. So if now's a good time to depart, now is great.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Do it again.
Alrighty, board, my pleasure to introduce the newest principal of the Rinks, Miss Connie Halverson-Tran. She is an Ortingite. She informed us in the interview committee and the community process that there is no other principal position she applied for other than here. She did a wonderful job not only in the interview, but impressing staff and the local community who gave wonderful feedback. And it's our pleasure to introduce her here tonight. She's coming to us from Bonnie Lake Elementary, where she's been an assistant principal for 6 years, and I don't know if she plays guitar or sings or why they said this, but her superintendent, her principal, and executive director used the word rock star to describe her. So I don't know if it's a karaoke connotation or not, but we're excited to find that out too. She's here with her family. Would you mind coming on up?
Sure.
You might want to say a few words or introduce your family, and we have a little gift for you here as well tonight.
Well, I'm just so excited to serve the Orton community where I live. This is my son Jackson. He's 8. Brianna, who will be a senior in high school next year. And Braylon, who's almost 1 year old, and my husband Danny.
I'm 36.
Just so everyone knows. And that's it. Thank you.
Well, we're excited to have you here. We have a little gift, a little welcome to Orting for you. And we couldn't be happy for you as you start this next chapter in
Thank
your
you
career.
so much. Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, guys.
It's also a good time to sneak out.
It's okay.
We'll just walk slowly back to the laptop.
I'll get that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, other things happening this week. We had Spring Fair coming up. AJ and Toby Keith, I think, were the two lambs. So we showed part of that fair presentation is not only the grooming and the care, but FFA students as community and kids and others come to visit. They talked about the animals and their experience, because there's the business component and the ag component as well as they think about farms. So there they are showing some of the animals. And here's a picture of many of the ribbons from Spring Fair. And along with advisor Mia Gum is our new FFA teacher, Kendra Bertrand. She's over here. And she's been with them every step along the way. So it's just been wonderful to see that partnership and that early connection. Now, for you to consider as a board, we do have more state champions in our mix. The Farm for Kids program is something that Director Thibodeau described to you in our board retreat of just how incredible that was and how involved that was with our local school, local community. That's really about career development event that challenges chapters to educate elementary students. And all of our students were impacted, and they did a wonderful, wonderful job, and our state champions. So as you're thinking about next month, we could invite them back for recognition on the 1st of June. And or they can share the entirety of their presentation, which is 30 to 40 minutes, or a brief synopsis of it as well. So we'll talk and you can give me some feedback, but I do think it would be nice to bring them in and say Atta girl, atta boy, atta they. Administrative professionals, so we did celebrate Miss Bonnie and Miss Jill among others here recently, and we gave them a shout out from your behalf and my behalf as well. I couldn't certainly do half the things I do without wonderful support in the front office, so we were able to say thank you to them. Spring Career Fair happened, and what's a little bit different, I'll say even my time as principal, we refer to this as the college career fair, but it was really expanded under the current administrative team. So we have trades. In fact, one of our yes committee members, Eddie Jessic, he spoke to you a couple months ago about local support and labor support. There he is talking with students about trades and what an iron worker career and a living wage could be right out of high school. We had military tech schools, community colleges, local businesses, workforce training, in addition to four-year universities. When we look at our graduates, 15 to 18% or so go on to four-year. The vast majority do not. So all four of our grades are able to go and just get that exploration. So hopefully from the time they are freshmen moving on up, they hear and see and think about different options, and hopefully that's helping their career development in what Principal Freese talks about, the summit plan development. It's one component in that. Speaking of community partnerships, we did have a town hall yesterday meeting sponsored by OSTOP and in partnership. Really focus on nicotine use and awareness and vaping and trying to bring those issues to light in our local community. And other aspects of community partnerships, we had our scholarship awards night on May 6th. We had a packed house full of alumni. Part of their event is to recognize alumni from various points in the past, but also to celebrate our local seniors. So students like Grace and others like her are able to receive local scholarships, and they did a wonderful job recognizing our local seniors, and we'll have a scholarship function in 2 weeks, is Scholarship Awards Night. So you'll be invited to go to attend that if you'd like to. Jazz Band did take first place at the Bellevue High School Jazz Festival. It's a premier event in the Pacific Northwest. It does feature schools not only from the Pacific Northwest, but actually around the nation. And to walk away with the first place trophy is absolutely phenomenal. We have Support the Arts, so I'm sure we'll hear about that from some of our student reps in a little bit, but we do have choir concerts coming up. We have drama coming up, so a lot of activities for our local community to come together and support our wonderful students. Teacher Appreciation Week, there's a picture of Director Madigan, who served some mean beans, I think she did this year. So we had chicken and ribs, beans and salad. We invited all of our staff to celebrate, and despite the weather and the rain, we had at least probably, what, 275, 300 people come-ish?
We had a lot.
It was-
And Nora passed out ice cream sandwiches for the
Oh, so wonderful event, and as you saw on social media through our school and district channels, we did a lot of promotion and celebration on those fronts as well.
And Bonnie and I are doing jazz hands with rubber gloves on.
Yes, with the rubber gloves. I didn't take a picture of my outfit, which was described by some as hideous, I think.
Gordon the fisherman.
Yes. My barbecue serving clothes in the rain and my crabbing clothes are the same clothes. School spirit, lots of assemblies. Here's Orting Middle School, end of the year, pep assembly. Just wonderful opportunities for kids to connect, bond, share with one another, laugh with their staff. And that's just one of many things happening across at all of our schools. We had school spirit, and there's a picture, I don't know what I am doing, or Officer Boone, but the kids are trying to teach us to floss.
You did
So-
really good.
Well, thank you.
We all voted.
There's new moves for me, but I think I have a picture of if you could see just the smiles and laughter and joy on students' faces, that's what it's all about. So, unbeknownst to me, there was some video being taken and pictures being taken that surfaced later. I didn't know that was part of the gig, but lots of fun to celebrate. We do have a new student board representative joining us, Jaden Soto. He's a sophomore now. He'll be our junior rep. He does play soccer. He's been involved in leadership this whole time at the high school and will continue to be involved in student leadership. He's been a vocal component of the dignity work as we've introduced that and have tried to whittle it from 10 ideas down to 4. And we really spoke to him. Director Kinsler asked about how can we work with other students at other schools and lift their voices. And he had some wonderful ideas in that regard. So I think as we think about next year, how do we tell some of the stories from other schools and get that to be prevalent in your work, he was very excited about that idea, and working with Michaela, of course. We do have a transition, so we'll be starting to communicate this a little bit more depth than we have. That was in our newsletter to start May. And that's moving to the idea of 2 K-5 elementary schools. We've identified and shared with you what we think draft boundaries are and will look like, what I will call with 2 equal-sized elementary schools. So really the vision here is those boundaries would be anticipated to work post a bond at some point in the future. The green area would represent the boundary for what Orting Elementary School would look like. So along with that would be the transition eventually over the next couple years from Orting Primary to Orting Elementary School. That's not the first time. That's been Orting Elementary for 80 years plus. It's been Orting Elementary. Only after the PTR opening did that switch to primary. So it's reconfiguring to her roots. PTR, of course, is already in that configuration, and I'm working on a letter to families just to explain the instructional benefits and what would happen with that boundary. The orange represents the Ptarmigan Ridge boundary. So beginning next year, we'll start to enroll students aligned to that boundary. But like we currently do now, all of our students move from Orting Primary to PTR. The difference is a few classes will still behind become next year's 4th graders, and then the following year will become 5th graders. So over the next couple years, we'll work to 2 elementary schools. We just won't be able to work to that equal size yet under the current space configuration, because OPS built in '68 doesn't house nearly the number of students that PTR does. So we'll have that information to go out to families. And that is part of the request we received from families, is it's confusing not having a boundary. Nobody knows what school they're going to. So I do think it'll help to clean that up and make that predictable. And families, as always, will have some voice in that as well. They may want to make different decisions and can request a waive. I did put a little note about turf replacement, although that was in the bond. In my conversations with you, that is not a want. That is what I would describe as a critical need. That turf is 15 years old. The average replacement cycle for turf under nominal use is 8 to 10 years. Our turf use is much more than nominal. It's used all day through PE. It's used sports. Our community uses it. We have a value of the community being able to access and use public resources. The last time we did G-SHOT testing, although not required, it is a critical component to measure the safety of a field. It did not pass G-SHOT testing, meaning it's unsafe and could lead to greater risk of injury or concussion or worse. The way we made it safe is adding a boat ton of crumb rubber a couple years ago to the top and trying to stir it up as best as we can. But what happens, the rubber gets compacted over time and you can't untine it to get it to be safer. And the other thing that we've noticed, those fibers have well worn based on the UV light. You'll see on the turf many sections where the fibers are either non-existent or they're folded flat and they're not able to hold a safe amount of rubber. So we are using capital projects money, so this isn't coming out of the general fund. We did not spend as much money as we allocated for architects and engineers and others in our pre-bond planning. And we had debt service funds available left over after we paid off the last bond. So we're using capital projects money to accomplish that. And I think that'll put it in a much safer, more playable aspect for our kids and community. What we didn't want to do with much of the feedback is to close it down or reduce the use or access to not only community groups, but our local sports groups as well. So that'll be happening this summer. The turf will be closed down for at least a month, maybe up to 6 weeks, as we remove the material, install it brand new. We are not doing the other elements of the bond that included the lighting upgrades and then the field track replacement. Those are beyond the scope of what we're able to do. Looking to next year, June 1st, I'll share a video and an update about our speaker, and I'll have some summer homework for you in the term of some reading. But we are leading with the word inspire next year. And I know you have shared this, but I felt like it would be a benefit of our local community to hear from our student voices. That is a priority of yours, to hear voice and to lift it and elevate it. And this video represents just our administrators working with children to kind of share some positive messages about them this year. So hopefully you'll hear their voice and see the reaction from us spreading some good cheer. So Miss Jill, would you mind hitting play?
Hey, Gage. You know who I am, Miss Alvers, right? Yeah. And have you heard of this word inspiration before? No. Can you say inspiration? Inspiration. Sorry. Inspiration. Okay, look at the camera. You are an inspiration to me. It means you make me want to come to work. You know why? Come here.
All right, so Corey, I just wanted to tell you that I'm impressed with your self-advocacy. The fact that we had the challenges a couple weeks ago. You came here, you handled your business with Mr. Freeze, with myself, and we're going to get back on track and get you back to being the super fan that you can be. So, just wanted you to hear that.
Good morning, Nathan.
Good morning.
All of the principals were given a little bit of a challenge to think about a student that helps us feel really excited about getting up and coming to school and being a part of being a Mountaineer. And right away I thought of you, and I thought about how much I love our connections. I thought about your kindness, your sense of humor, and I also really especially thought about how hard you've been working this year. And you come here every day and you're just working harder and harder every day. And I just look forward to coming to school every day and connecting with you and seeing what hard work you're going to do today. I wanted you to know that you're part of what makes me excited to come here and be a Mountaineer. Thanks for that.
So I had to pick one student in our whole school who I think is an inspiration and continues to grow. It makes me so excited to come here to see them. And I had to tell them that you have done so good and you make me excited to come to work because you continue to grow. So I'm telling you. Is that okay? I'm with Stella, and Stella is a third grader at OPS. And Stella, I wanted to call you today and tell you that you inspire me. Because Stella is a helper in our school, and she is always looking for places to help. She's part of our leadership team. She always has a smile, and she's welcoming kids and looking for ways to make OPS a special place. And Stella, I wanted to tell you that today. That you make OPS a special place, and it makes you so happy that you're a student here.
I called you, Violet.
Oh no.
I'm working on a project about my inspiration, and I was thinking, Violet Campanelli, someone who has overcome lots of challenges, always has a positive attitude, works super hard, never makes excuses, has great grades, contributes to the school, plays sports, all around awesome person. And I was thinking, you inspire me to come to work every day.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Hi, Shelby. How are you? So, I'm doing this video because Mr. Lee has us asking people, few kids that we know. I want to tell you something. You are an inspiration to me. Do you know what inspiration means? Have you heard it before? A little bit? No? It means that you're kind of a hero to me because I know that sometimes here at school things is still a little hard for you, right? But you just keep coming back, don't you? You keep trying. And that makes me want to come to work every day too when things get hard. So I want to say thank you for being an inspiration to me. Get out with us. Okay.
Thanks for sharing that, Jill. So as a board, as we're thinking about next year, we want to lean more into that. As we think about the recognition, the stories that we tell, how we engage our students, our families, our staff in those conversations. Just wanted to get that out there so we can think about next year, maybe our recognition or different maybe strategies we can do to notice and pick out the good and what's right in the system and bring that to life and celebrate the heck out of it. We have some amazing leaders and kids and families as well, so I just wanted to share that little foreshadow of what's to come, not only next month, but into the coming year. And that concludes my report.
I had a couple of quick comments, if that's okay. One, I know I've said it before, but just a shout out to the way that the spring career fair was organized this year. I love that all grade levels were included in that, and that it was so much more than just a college career fair. So kudos for that. And Secondly, as you were doing your presentation and you were describing the turf and the need for that replacement, I just want to thoroughly thank you for spelling out exactly where that funding is coming from. I know that you mentioned it to us as a board here and there, but I think it's so vitally important that the community hears that too. And also, sometimes it takes me 3 or 4 times hearing something before it settles in. So I just wanted to thank you very much for that. Liz, well done.
And I wanted to also comment on the, explaining where the money will come from, since we didn't pass the bond and we had planned to do it that way. It's a really great example of how we have taken being stewards of the money and our facilities very seriously and have been real responsible, and because of that, we're able to still be safe and take care of this in a different way. And it's important, it's been always important to all of us that we're good stewards of the facilities so that the kids can use it. So I appreciate that we kept to that.
And continuing to allow not just our schools to use it, but also to allow sports teams out of the school to use it, because that also takes wear and tear, but to keep doing that is, I think, very generous, and it's, I mean, I think it's a good decision, but it's a generous decision, so.
Yeah, I would agree. The idea of our community organizations and even our own athletes having to leave the community because the stadium was closed, it didn't sit well with any of us. And so we prioritized their ability to play here locally. And that means we've had to make sacrifices in the budget for other things. So I don't want that to go unnoticed, but we're going to find a way, because that's what we do here, right? We find a way. Before we go on to the School Board Art Award, which I'm really excited about, Mike, I just want to check in and make sure everything's working on your end. Director Milo is here with us virtually. So all's well? Thumbs up? You gave a thumbs up. Okay.
Yes.
Everything's good. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. It's like the voice of God. You ever heard that? All right. Next item on our agenda is the School Board Art Award. And Brittany, you're here to share with us the talents of our
Yes.
students.
I think part of the communications department is supporting student work, and I think that we have a bare wall when we walk into the central office, and so I thought it'd be a good idea to have schools submit art. So I had each school submit 3 to 5 pieces, and I would like to select one for the secondary side and one for that represents elementary. Okay. I have the well, we don't have it's not a big wall, so I want to do this for a while. So I have OPS, PTR, and OHS. I have their pieces because I don't think my pictures do them justice in the PDF I sent, but I don't have OMS because they are still doing, I think they're doing another art award coming up, so she couldn't give them to me. But that Miss Ayana went above and beyond and had her students write little art explanations to how they created their work and how they came to that, how they came to the final product. So if you have a chance, I would read those. Would you guys like me to pass them out, or would you like me to be like Vanna White and show them?
Vanna, I'm voting for Vanna. You can thank me later.
Some of them. So this is Lena. And this little nice piece. Odell made this cool little raccoon. This is OPS. And I like this one because it says make the world a better place.
Yep.
And this is Harper.
Do you have the grade levels on them, or just?
Some of them I do. This is second grade, and third grade. So 2 second graders and a third grader. And then this is first grade. This is PTR Emery. This is Felix, second grade. Peyton. I thought this one was kind of cool. Bonnie really liked this one. This is Cheyenne.
Yep.
Scarlett. And then the high school,
Oh, wow.
Samantha.
Good one.
That is so accurate.
Yeah,
Wow.
she did a beautiful job. This one, it says, "We can only learn to love by loving." It doesn't have a name on it, but I'm sure Mr. Coleman will tell me.
Yeah, that's cool.
This one doesn't have a name. Oh no, Chris. And then this one,
Wow.
Ryan.
And one?
Yeah. So, good luck.
That's just all kinds of wrong.
How do we do this? And then you've got
The middle school ones.
Oh, yes, in the middle school.
And those are included with, so you just want one for middle school, high school, and then one for the elementary?
One for each side. So one represents elementary, one that represents secondary.
Wow. That's like an unfair ask.
right?
Because I'm just gonna say, this one at the middle school where he drew his island map,
That's a
Yes.
good one.
Buzzy.
Yes, so
Yeah.
detailed.
I've seen read novels where they put the little.
Yeah.
I know the little adventure map.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Well, we could be here all night trying to decide this.
It's too warm, Melissa.
We don't need an
I know.
answer tonight, do you?
Oh, you don't need an answer?
I mean, I was thinking you could, if you pick someone tonight, we can invite them in June
That'd be
to come and take
Oh,
a
okay.
picture.
Okay.
But
The
that's up
ones-
to you guys.
The ones that don't have names, how do we say that one? You know, like, there's some in high school ones about that.
Yeah, not all of them had names on them. But
I like,
you could tell me.
The,
I like
the
the
face,
map.
the one with the,
I love
I like
this.
the
one. the
This
face.
one.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
that's very cool.
This is Samantha. It looks like.
But I also like the deer one.
That was a great, I mean, you don't see artists very, that can always do that light painting.
I was gonna say, it's
Yeah,
a great use
right.
of light.
Yeah,
Okay, we need a way of voting.
we have some talented,
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
You guys can vote too.
Yes, of course.
I didn't know if we were allowed to or not.
Yeah,
I
Okay.
say in this case.
you're members of the board.
That's true.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite?
From secondary or?
Either.
I have a favorite from secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is that?
I really like the deer painting. I think that's just really cool. It's gorgeous. Honestly, I thought it was a picture, so.
Yeah.
I really like
Yeah.
that too.
Okay,
You're Ryan.
I like that one
Yeah.
a lot. And then how about the elementary?
I really like the one with the colors like the blue, the green, I like that one a lot. And then there's another one that I really like too.
Is it
Don't,
really
the,
like pastel one?
Yeah,
the
it's like the
desert one.
I think it's right under the black thing. The one right there with the light, yeah.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, the
I like
desert
that.
one, yes.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
All
I
right,
like that too.
your consensus.
Are we in consensus? Yep. I don't know. I don't know how to vote. Voting this is
Stuff.
Unfair ask.
We've gone too far. But yeah, I like those too. They'll look good on the walls
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
there and great representation of both school, or both
Yeah,
age groups.
to represent both.
Definitely put black around that desert one with those vibrant colors. I mean, maybe it's not the desert, I think it's the desert.
But also I want to recognize that you're reaching out to the students and
Yes.
involving them in the
Yes.
communication work. I love that. It's
Yes.
brilliant. Yeah,
I do love
love
the
that.
map too.
I know.
Next.
Can we do three?
We'll make you guys, if you want to do an honorable mention, you can do 2 honorable mentions.
Oh.
2 honorable mentions?
One for,
No.
yeah,
You're
you
gonna
do
do
2
this
honorable.
again. You said you're gonna do this again?
I would like to do this every year, an annual.
Oh, good.
school
Okay.
board order.
Good.
Okay, good.
Good.
So they got 10.
Yeah.
They got more time.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
those.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel that all these ones are so good. Okay.
I'm thinking the size difference, like if they're going on walls, one's really big and one's, maybe I should fill in.
We would not be disappointed if you added others to the wall. How about that?
Because space might require it.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the student board representatives report.
I'm going first?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Well, you guys talked about a little bit of what I was going to cover before because the FFA, the concert, and things like that happening. I'm really excited about that. We have a play coming up. I know today in the PAC at our Cardinal time, they had just a quick little showing of it, which I thought was really nice for our students. That was cool. It was kind of probably a dress rehearsal, I believe. I don't know a lot of information about it, but I also know that it turned out super good. Everybody was really excited when they came out of the PAC today. Today there was also they call it a kids fair, but the high school students in leadership went over to OPS and we got to help out and play games. I was in bubbles all day. It was really sticky, but it was a lot of fun. They seemed to enjoy it. I know some of the preschoolers even came over. At one point. They were really cute. What else is happening? Our softball team's obviously doing really well. Our track team and lacrosse made it to playoffs.
All right.
Yep. Girls won league. Go Cardinal track. That might be biased though, because I am running Cardinal track. Other than that, off the top of my head, I'm trying to think what else happened.
You covered most of it.
I covered most of it.
Yes.
The College and Career Fair was really, really cool. I know it was really nice to be able to see my school represented because they couldn't make it to the last one, and having the technical schools and Army and everything there is really awesome to me. Just being able to reach out and have all those different opportunities. Yeah. There was something else that happened. Oh, the signing day, which I can talk more about when it happens at, it'll be the next day after for the next meeting, but it's really nice to see that coming back at this banquet, because not even just for colleges and things like that, because we have apprenticeship ones and workforce ones as well, and it's really nice to see that every single one of our seniors that has submitted a high school and beyond plan will be able to be recognized for what they're going on to do. I'm just excited to sign my Central poster, because one of my friends did a really good job at making it. I'm really happy.
You're going to Central?
I am.
All right.
I'm excited.
I love Central.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yep, that was pretty much it.
I was saying-
we have the choir concert coming up as well.
Mhm.
So after the Greek Olympian Kansas play.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you say it.
Yep. I had to do it in the announcements, that's the only reason. I'm sorry. And then the choir concert. Yeah. It's been good. Been busy. Oh, and testing's over. Woo! No more block schedules. So yeah, that was it.
Would you like block schedule if it was more if it was a real block schedule?
No.
Not really.
Why?
2-hour class periods are a very long time to keep the attention of students, no matter what age they are. And then you find yourself doing a lot of cahoots. Do you know how many classes took us out on an adventure walk with how nice it was outside?
I did a lot of adventure walks.
It was like, let's go look at the river. I was like, I've seen it 3 times today.
Of course, that's because they're testing. Probably.
Yes. So it's better just to get kids outdoors than have them sit at a desk for 2 hours.
Yeah. It was hard with the way my schedule is built too, because my first 3 periods they're not. I go English, physics, and then TA, so that day is relatively light.
And then my last 3 are, what's my 4th grade? Leadership, political science, and then calculus. So I personally did not like Wednesdays. They were hard.
Mine was like 3 AP classes straight on
Yeah.
Wednesdays, and I was like,
Okay, this is rough. Yeah. So I mean that's part of the reason why I didn't like it. But that's just where the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
It's over now.
Well, Grace, I have to tell you that, that I think that you've done wonderful things at Ording, and I think that your senior class, after teaching in high school, I've learned that the senior class can really drive all the students from, seniors to freshmen, and I think you guys have a great senior class, and you guys have done a really good job with your leadership, and you guys have been positive, you participate, community service, it's been really cool, and I'm really gonna miss you.
Miss you too. Miss you all. Yeah, but thank you. I appreciate it. It's been hard. It's been a push to get more participation and stuff this year, just more than just a few select individuals. So getting that bigger group that's started to happen over the course of this year is really great to me. I'm really happy it's been happening. I remembered another thing I was going to talk about too off the top of my head. So the alumni banquet happened, and you guys kind of brushed on it, but it was a success. It was super nice to see all the members of the community. Seeing how small the class, what class was recognized at it? I don't remember. 73.
Yeah.
It was so small. It was really cool to see just them at the center table and seeing all the alumni come back and how packed it was. And it was a very well ran day. I was there, so I should mention on that one too.
Do either of you know if Andrew Ling made it to state?
Oh,
He did not.
He did not.
He did
He
not.
missed it by
I
like
thought you
This
said
much. He was
so.
close.
Oh.
I think he needed like in the 70s to score, and I think he just brushed like low 80s.
Oh,
So yeah.
wow. Well, we'll cheer on Jackson
And John.
and John. That's right, they're headed to state, so, cool.
Very excited.
Yeah, so many wins. Okay, good reports. Thank you very much. All right, financial report. I heard no questions this time about the financial report. All well. Thank you, Ms. Bannon. And now I'd like to invite Director Willis.
Well, this is the last safety report that I'll be doing ever in my life. And so I want you to know that. So when I came to you 5 years ago with the safety and security plan, I remember Carrie specifically going, I think he needs a little help. And so I took that to heart, actually, and it was a good heart. And the biggest part is trying to understand how it all fits together. And so, for those of you who don't know, we have an emergency operations plan. It includes all of our incident command systems. It includes all of our functional annexes or checklists for all different types of disasters, from everything from a fire to the lahar. It also includes a technology, where is he? There he is. A technology disaster, and that's going to be the highlight tonight. On top of that, the companion to the operation plan, the emergency operation plan, is the continuation of operation plan. And that it's sat on my desk for 5 years. And it has a few edits I still have to do in it. I saw some when I was preparing tonight, so I'll make sure those edits are done. But really what that really is to ensure that the essential functions continue during a disaster. And a good example of that is the pandemic we just came out of, right? We weren't here, but we kept school going. And so one of the things with that continuity of operations plan is that we're not only going to have pandemics, but we're also going to have flooding. We're also going to have fires, right? The ones we're really concerned about now is obviously the forest fires and the brush fires. And so right now, as part of that COOP, that's what it's called in the emergency operations land, is the fact that we have to have places where is our staff going to go if the whole place burns down? And so I have 2 MOUs, which has been trying my patience because I had none. And so, one is with the Veterans Association, Washington Vets, through the Soldiers Home. Soldiers Home's not the problem, it's the bureaucracy that's above them. It is sitting, I just got a status report on it the other day, Ed, and they're almost done. So my hope is we'll get that baby back here. I also have another MOU with the Pierce County. I didn't realize that the quarry was owned by Pierce County. And so we have to go not only to the quarry, that MOU is actually going through Pierce County now. So we have an opportunity not only for a place for our facilities, staff to be able to maintain operations, but also as a reunification site in case of any, for an example, God forbid, that we have a active shooter. We need to know where our kids are going to go. We have the operational plans for that reunification site. Those are done. Now, once we complete and have that MOU, then it's up to Mr. Rabb to take that lead once I leave, to really put it into operation. Because we have the map, we have the operation, now it's really putting it in. But that MOU is really the key, it's the cog that allows us to continue to move forward. The other piece that, again, will be starting next year is also what we call the Emergency Mitigation Plan, or it's not the Emergency, Safety Mitigation Plan, Pierce County Safety Mitigation Plan. That was a 2-year project as I started, and I did it along with a lot of help from Holly, helping me along the way, like, why am I here? And so, but working with all the local entities, cities, districts, emergency management, it took us the entire year, and thanks to Debbie Bailey, who sat by my side to go through it to make sure it all came together. And it's essential for gathering FEMA dollars. And so we can't access FEMA dollars unless we have an emergency, have the safety mitigation plan. So that whole process starts up again next year. We've already put in a letter of intent to make sure that is ready to go, district. And then when we're actually next year, you'll be voting on, hey, by the way, we're committed. We're committed to moving forward with the plan itself, and then Steve will be spending the next 2 years working on it with the Emergency Operations Center. The last thing is, which is on your thing there, is the Safety and Security Plan. And the Safety and Security Plan is really the 2-year plan of what we're going to do. You know, it's like we're going to put cameras over at transportation. We just finished that project, not this week. So this week? Yep, I thought so. Yep, this week. When buses get, vandalized, now we have cameras, and so that should be taken care of. So we have cameras. Thanks to the tech team, we have cameras everywhere, and so that's what it is. It's a plan for each 2 years. What are the small things that we're going to do to continue to improve? The other thing that was big this year is the fact that we have Narcan for drug overdose in all of our buildings now. We have them, actually they're in containers within our defibrillator boxes. So all of those are there. I have easy access to all of the Narcan, and I actually have some extra Narcan. People are carrying it around in their cars now, and so before we needed a prescription, now it's over the counter. And so I encourage all of you to have it with you because it's happening at an alarming rate. Yeah. So you have the Emergency Operations Plan, and we're going to highlight, Matt's going to talk a little bit about the Technology Disaster Plan. We have the Continuation of Operations Plan, which is together with that plan, it's kind of companion fare. I'm thinking retirement. And so, safety Mitigation Plan, which is a county plan that works in conjunction with what we're trying to do in order to access those FEMA dollars. And then the Safety and Security Plan is a short-term plan that actually helps improve those other documents that I just talked about. The big highlight though is all the work that the tech team did on the emergency, basically the technology disaster plan, and we had a good practice of that the other day. And I have Matt here to talk a little bit more about that.
Hello. Thank you for letting me speak. Last month, we had an issue with the internet. Our provider lost their internet service due to a fire, and the fiber lines were cut, which was good for us to experience because we were able to figure out what things we had in place that would really help us stay up and running. So I feel like our plan was really good. It is something that's not currently in the plan you guys looked at because that happened after, but it will be shortly. So, but yeah, the disaster recovery plan for cybersecurity was started last year after I went to a webinar through risk management. And one of the requirements for insurance will be a disaster plan for if you have any type of cybersecurity incident. So that is where we're starting, and we're going to build on it. As we see other things that will need to be put in that plan, we'll add it to it. So if you have any questions for me?
I'm just so glad that it's so detailed, because I feel like that could be the plan we're going to need the most, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like,
Recovering
data, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
well, and that's, when you take a look at the COOP, or the Continuation of Operations Plan, it really has to do, we're talking about maintaining our data, making sure that we have access to the internet. So we were talking about go bags, making sure every building has a go bag. So if we have to go to that alternative facility, that we're ready to go with those go bags, and then making sure that we have the hot spots in order to continue our learning. So all of those things coming in together, I mean, it's honestly very, very complex. I didn't realize how complex it got. And then when you add in all the technology that we need in order to make all the pieces come together, it's very difficult. So having this disaster plan, honestly, these plans are just a start. We found that out during the pandemic, right? And we made up that as we were going along. And so now we feel a little bit more seasoned about it. We have a pretty good idea of what direction to move in to keep operations going. But just like the thing that happened a few weeks ago, it's like, oh, didn't expect that. Now the plan's adjusted. So I really appreciate all the Matt and what he's done to help keep the district up and running.
look at Multicare. You couldn't even make an appointment for like 2 months because of the...
Well, in Edmond School District, they were down for a week.
Were they really?
Yeah,
Wow.
they were down for a week because they didn't have any internet.
Yeah, that kills
Yeah.
you.
Well, I wanted to say how much I appreciate this. Some of us, I think Karen's been here this long, but we've been here for the earthquake. There was no cell phone service during it because the tower was affected. And it's really hard to be out on the field there with hundreds of little kids and trying to make sure they get home safely. Also, I was at OPS when there was a fire behind OPS, and we all had to evacuate and be out there on the field with hundreds of little kids. It is important to have those plans in place because there's all kinds of things that you don't think about. And I love the idea of having the hot spots in the bag. That's a really good idea because you can't predict where you're going to have to evacuate. I mean, you plan on an evacuation place, but depending on, you know, what the fire department says, because that building was on fire, you might end up being moved to someplace else. So those things, and it's hard to still be responsible for all those kids and make those decisions at the same time. So thank you. It's really, really important.
Well, and honestly, it's easy to come with the plans, but then you start creating MOUs for outside entities, and then things slow down to a slow mud flow. And so that's the part, because once those are completed, we'll have other facilities. We'll be able to begin our work regarding those alternative facilities.
And I'm glad that we're taking care of the legal aspects of it instead of just, you know, all along going in the gravel pit. I never knew who owned it.
I had no idea.
Walking
No,
up
I didn't
there.
either. And all of a sudden, Pierce County got involved. I went, oh, I guess they're it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. For any questions?
I was in this building when we had that earthquake and the power went out, and we had those big TVs that sat on stands.
Oh,
All the
yeah.
TVs
Oh,
fell
yes.
off, and this guy told us, stay in your desk, stay in your desk.
Wow.
Yeah. The flagpole out on the playground, I had to tell my kids, oh no, move away because the flagpole's going up there.
It was, yeah.
I think I do have a question. Matt, I have a question. As this, and you don't have to answer tonight, but I'm curious as we look ahead to next year's budget, and now that this work you're getting more and more detail put into this plan, should we anticipate any big investments that we'll need to make in order to, have redundancy and?
Yeah, so in last September, I put in a redundant firewall system,
Okay.
which will allow us and hopefully allow us to add a second internet line. So if one internet provider lost coverage, we'll be able to add a second one.
Okay.
That's my goal. That's it can get expensive sometimes, but that is my goal eventually, yes.
Okay.
As well as, build out, we're building out the go bags. We have all the hotspots. When we had the internet go down last month, we were able to give out hotspots. We have like 40 of them right now. We had them through COVID, so it was kind of nice that actually continuing some of those hotspots have really helped.
Yeah.
But providing the go bags for each building to be able to use those in the event of emergency. We do have an agreement with Verizon. We have a cell phone per building that's an emergency phone, and it will override every other phone on the tower, which is really nice. So we can, the government phones override those. So if there's too many customers, it will bump them and still give us service.
Did
So
anybody check
that's
for
kind
a
of nice.
signal at the quarry?
What's that?
Did anybody check for a signal at the quarry?
It should be able to get a signal at the quarry. We should take one up there and try it. That is a good idea.
All right, I didn't mean to put you on the
No,
spot.
thank you.
I'm just curious, as we anticipate, these things take investments.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
And if any of you have not seen, may the fourth be with you. You have to see the door of the tech department
Oh, yeah,
before
that
you
was
leave
great.
the building. It is amazing.
Thank you.
It's
That was a lot of
amazing.
fun.
Did like the leprechauns a lot, though.
Yeah.
But this one's really good too.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a lot of really important information. I feel like, back in the day, I can say that now. But when I first joined the board and we were talking about the safety plan and building out LAHAR information, that was, kind of the thing that we had focused on. And now technology is part of that conversation, and it just kind of keeps expanding, and now active shooters and all of these things that we need plans and procedures for to protect our kids and our staff and our families. I think we may need help with it. Still, it's just so big. It's so much. So I appreciate the work that's gone into this, and Chris, definitely your handling of this over the years has been instrumental in getting us to that next step. Thank you. All right, next item, we have second reading on the distribution of information, regulation of dangerous weapons on school premises, hiring of retired school teachers, and then also tuition. So I will entertain a motion.
I will motion to approve the second reading of policy considerations.
Can I get a
I'll
second?
second it.
Thank you. Any discussion on these? No discussion?
I was really happy to see in the retired school employees document that you included that it's up to the employees to keep track of the hours, because that was a misconception with some people. The state's not going to do that for you.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're over.
Gotcha. Mike, checking in with you. Any discussion on these policies? Thumbs up? All right, thank you. Then I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. And we have a number of things on the consent agenda. If there's no questions, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve items 1 through 8 on the consent agenda.
I second it.
Any discussion? Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, our first action item is interscholastic activities presented by Director Rem.
Board Policy 2151 lays out board expectations for interscholastic activities in the district. And this report that you have in front of you is this year's review of that work and reporting back to you that we are in compliance and we are addressing everything that's in the policy. My appreciation goes to Athletic Director Mr. Schlegel, who I just have to send him an email and say, can you fill this up and update this for me? And so he did the heavy lifting on it. And if you have any questions relative to what's in that report, we're fortunate to have him here where he could address them probably better than I could.
No questions?
Oh, we have more females at Ording Middle School in sports than males. We're above Title IX. Whoa!
Cross country team plays.
Yay, good job, Karen. I mean, isn't that a first for us?
No, not at the middle school.
What?
I don't think it is at the middle school. It's the first. Girls volleyball really helps push it over the top.
Well, hopefully they'll keep going up so we can.
The problem is at high school, they start to interfere with one another, like soccer and volleyball are at the same time. Yeah.
We also had the good fortune of having Karen here to address any questions as well. Double bonus tonight.
So I will entertain a motion to approve the interscholastic activities program.
Motion to approve the interscholastic activities program.
Second it.
Second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And a thumbs up, motion passes. And now we have the academic calendar.
Are you able to throw it up there, Jill? Is it able to go up on the screen? Just the PowerPoint part that's up there. Ooh, I get power. Oh, it's not on there?
Yeah, we've got it.
Well, I can start talking without it. I know that. So, well, for about almost 20 years now, I've been standing here before this group with the same topic, a calendar.
Because you do such a good job.
Oh, thank you. We started a few years ago presenting the calendar 2 years in advance, really a year and a half. So tonight's presentation, just to be clear, is on the 24-25 school year. This, I hesitate to say it, was an easy calendar. When we sat down as a committee, without even having to do much asking and questioning, a lot of dates just fell in very natural places. So it definitely made life easier. The committee, I was a representative for OEA, and then Jerry Silvernail represented the classified union, and then Holly and Debbie represented from the district side of things, and we met a few times, sat down. Where's my PowerPoint? There we go. I went back, I was too fast. So we sat down, we met a couple of times, and one of the things that really has made our calendar easier is the ability to send out Google surveys to the entire district to be able to get feedback from everybody all at once. I can remember actually being in this exact building my first year and having to ask at a staff meeting, hey, does anybody have any input on the calendar? I'm our representative, and having to get people's information that way. So now we are able to survey rather quickly both the staff and the community and get input from our families as to the dates that they find important. Then we take that information and create 3 options for a calendar per the contract agreements. And then that is sent out to staff for voting. The parents do not get to vote on that part, but they did get to give input into it. This year, we did a second vote because we had presented 3 calendars and 2 of them were very close. So we chose to run basically kind of a primary and a final voting to get the outcome that we were looking for. So this was your survey results. You can see the community results there on the left versus the staff results. One of the things, with the exception of second place for spring break, they actually matched for once. That doesn't happen very often. You definitely see a little bit change in numbers, but you had matching. Ironically, you'll see here in a moment that our survey results don't always match our voting results. Because when we ask an independent question, you're going to find out that everybody wants to start after Labor Day, have 5 weeks at Christmas, have every holiday off, and be out by June 1st. And they just don't understand that that's not 180 days. So the questions end up altering, and you'll see this in the start day of school when it gets reflected in the voting. We had 3 options. They all had the same major holidays and everything. The only honest differences was the start day of school and the spring break, and then because of the start day of school, the end day becomes a different day. And a new challenge that we have was the addition of June 19th as a federal holiday. So if we were to go to school until June 18th and we needed a 3rd snow makeup day, you would find a very awkward end to the school year where you would have to take the 19th off and then finish school on the 20th. And so I think when teachers and staff saw the actual calendar written out and realized that was a potential to happen, I think people said, maybe it's better to go to school on Tuesday knowing you would have that buffer day at the end. So I feel like that was where it came from. But you'll see that the voting was incredibly close between options A and B. So because of that, we threw out a second ballot. Oops, I think these are all the dates that are on everything. And I don't think there's any shocker to any of the ones on here. It goes in consistency with what we've had. But when we put it back out, option B, which started on Tuesday and had that buffer at the end, had a 56 to 44% voting difference. So again, doesn't match the survey at the beginning 100%. But again, I think there was reasoning for it. So our hope tonight is that you can support option B, starting school on the Tuesday after Labor Day, taking April 7th through 11th as your spring break, and finishing up school on the 17th, which gives us the buffer of the 18th if we needed the 3rd snow makeup day. We have the 2 built into the calendar. I'm all for questions. Hopefully I have some answers. If there's any questions. Like I said, this was as straightforward as it could be this year, just with how the dates fell. There was no question about Christmas break. It fell naturally with the 2 weeks. So.
I'm so glad you're still doing this because you've always done such a good job with
Well,
it.
thank you. I appreciate it. And I couldn't do it without the other people that helped me out. Holly and Debbie have been immensely helpful in understanding some of the legal pieces and getting all the tweaks done and sending everything out. So I couldn't do it without them.
I was just curious, I don't know the answer to this, but do a lot of the other districts still do winter break? In January?
We have some. What we've seen is that many of the districts around us take maybe a 4 or 5 day weekend versus the actual whole week. Enum Claw does still take the entire week. I know that represents into causes some conflicts in our sports scheduling at the middle school level. I believe Auburn still takes the week as well as Behringer. So you have a few that definitely do, but pretty common we're seeing they take the Friday, Monday, and it's not a snow day like ours is. We will have starting next year the Tuesday. That's that weekend, right? You got the clicker power now. You want to back up 2 slides?
What do you mean, go 2 slides?
Yeah, go back to the one that says what's on every calendar. Or maybe just 1 slide, sorry. Go to slide 5. The District Professional Development Day is now February 18th, which is the Tuesday of that President's Day weekend. That is what used to be the semester break day, where we had the professional development, and we moved it to that day this coming school year, 23-24 is the first time that'll happen. And we'll still have a semester break day, but now it's going to be an unpaid day where teachers can actually do their grading since we don't have a, quote, grading day like that we used to have in the old contracts.
Okay.
So that will be, so for families, we will now potentially have a 5 day weekend at that weekend if we don't have to use the snow day on the Friday. So Monday is the holiday, and then families will have the Tuesday, but staff will be in session.
Very good.
Any other questions? Well, then thank you so much for letting
I
me
would
be
just
here.
like to say thank you for asking the community. I
Yes.
don't know of many schools that do that.
I wish we could get more response. We only had 200 and something this year. There's been years we've had 400 or 500. We put it out through multiple channels to them, so maybe that's something we can look for next year, see if there's another way to get some additional response.
Gotcha. Good. So I'm glad we continue to ask. Gives
Well,
them a
Thank you so much.
say. Thank you very much. So board, I will entertain another motion.
I move to accept option B, correct me if I have that wrong, of the 2024-25 calendar presentation.
Seconded.
Thank you. Any discussion? Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Thumbs up from Mike. Motion passes. The next item is resolution, scholarship donation acceptance and creation for Ording Red Hat Days. And
Is there an action on that, or is it just a note?
that's what I'm checking on. I don't see an action on that. I think we just signed that.
I think it needed a motion and approval to sign,
Okay.
because it has,
Yeah.
I believe the word is missing, but it does require a motion.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion to pass the resolution?
Move to pass resolution 7.2223, the scholarship donation acceptance and creation for Ording Red Hat Days.
Second? Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thumbs up from Mike. Motion passes. And the next one is another scholarship donation acceptance and creation, the Roland B. Reed resolution. So we'll do the same. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 8.2223, scholarship donation acceptance and creation for Roland B. Reed.
Can I get a second? Thank you, Joanne. Any discussion? All good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thumbs up. Motion passes. Some nice ones. All right. So I will open the floor for any board comments.
I had a quick comment. While interviewing our incoming student board rep, I asked a question of Mr. Hatzenbuehler about whether or not it might be neat, a good idea, whatever, to include our reigning student board rep in on those interviews. And so that's something he challenged me to bring it up next year, but I'll forget. So I'm bringing it up now. I will forget until next time we have interviews. So I've been fortunate enough to be part of the process for 3 or 4 years now, and it's a highlight for me. And a low light. I'm just glad I don't have to give the news. It's great to select somebody, but it's kind of sad for the others. It is, but just going with the idea that we as a board believe that this voice that you bring to the table is so important, and how can we add more of that voice? I just wondered if that might be an opportunity that the rest of the board would be interested in, and if we could maybe put that in place for the next year.
Great.
Michaela?
Yeah. Like, are you saying like reigning as in like I would do it next year, correct? Like, much better. I think that's really important, especially considering I work with them on a daily basis.
Right.
So I have experience with their, work ethic and how they cooperate with me.
Perfect. Okay, good. Grace, I'd ask you, but
I get it. I think it's a good idea, though. I think it would be really cool, especially like what Michaela said, since we're in the classroom with most of these students anyways already, so we know certain things that, I mean, shouldn't be brought into bias in interviews in general, but can't help a little bit. What?
That's very insightful.
I
I was impressed. I want to bring you back to working in HR.
She wants to be
Okay.
a teacher.
Fine, be a teacher.
Well, I would appreciate more voice as well. So
What do you want to
I think that's something that we can ask Ms. Bonnie to make note of, and Jill, if you would pass that through to her. I think we could make that change for next year.
I personally would like to have a discussion at once sometime on other things that because when we went to that conference, there were some really cool ideas, and it just takes time to figure them out and, put them in place, but I would like to look into that. I think it would be really nice for us and for the student rep, so I'd like to do that when we have time.
Agreed. Okay, good. Melissa, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other board comments?
Did anybody else notice that the Washington Energy Association is asking students and teachers to post the temperature in their classroom?
What?
Because apparently the state is real concerned about. Yeah.
I'd like to share with them some ideas I have.
It was Indian Jacobs.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and she had the lights off and all the
Yep.
blinds closed,
Right.
and it was still that hot.
The West Wing is rough at the high school.
And I thought that would be really good data for
Yes,
the
that's
state
good.
to have, to see, because they actually said, well, it must be so hard to learn. I was thinking,
Yeah.
yeah.
We had one of those in middle school, or PTR, I had one of those huge fans, like blows your breath right away, and our room was still at 92 degrees. So our kids, they were like dying.
That's not
you know.
fun. You can't learn anything in those
Yeah, it's awful.
Well,
Because it hits the sun. I mean, we just have, certain rooms are
Yes,
just not the,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and at OPS, not only are there west-facing windows, but then those rooms, the only ventilation they have is like the one transom up on top, so you know that's gonna be hot air, and the door to the alley.
Right.
That's not exactly
Safety and
safe.
security
Yeah.
is at risk there.
Yeah, and if you put a fan on, then everything in the room starts blowing.
I know. I think that's a great idea. We should ask for that. I think that would be interesting to look at.
It'd be good information for the bond.
Yes, it
Nice
would.
bond,
Yeah.
nice bond poster.
For my calculus final, for my first part of my calculus final, we had to, I'm in the West Wing originally, we had to move to Mrs. Bannon's room over on the letter portables on the side closest to the greenhouse and things
Right.
like that, because it was not functional.
Yeah, yeah. And I know that many people have no idea how few rooms in our school district have air conditioning.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a budget line item for swamp buckets in every classroom.
And I don't know, with our weather just seems to gets warmer earlier and lasts later, so it's like, used to be just maybe a month or so, but now it's like,
Or you have time to acclimate, now
Yeah,
it goes from
yeah.
freezing to 90.
Yeah.
All right, noted, hot temps in classrooms.
Just a brief comment from my perspective, board. I just want to recognize a member in the audience today. Director Dave Slagle received a new position in the Puyallup School District. You may not have known, but he's been shadowing us at every meeting all year long. You'll hear his voice next month in June at the regular board meeting as he presents the capital facilities plan update. But congratulations, Dave, on your new position as a director in the Puyallup School District. Very well deserved.
Congratulations.
oh, and our board president had a birthday this week.
That's not making a public record.
Why not?
28. Mark said 30 on the Facebook post, he was exaggerating.
Yeah.
Excuse me, please do not talk about it.
Yes.
Old.
We are all right.
None of you get to do that.
All right.
I got that one taken care of.
adjourn tonight.